Hello and welcome again to investingsuccess.ca. Let's take a look at some astrology, shall we? And in fact, let's apply some very basic astrology to a stock, an individual stock. Let's pick one that we're all very familiar with. Let's pick Apple. When we look at the astrology of a given stock, the first thing that we have to do is look at the planetary placements in the cosmos on the day that stock first started trading on a recognized stock exchange. Now, in the case of Apple, it started trading on a stock exchange December 12th, 1980. If we look at the heliocentric chart for December 12th, 1980, there's one thing in particular that stands out on that chart. Mercury, which is a fairly quick moving planet, takes something like 88 days to orbit the sun, was located at 45 degrees to a larger, slower moving planet, Saturn. A 45-degree aspect is what astrologers call a hard aspect. And when I look at planetary placements for the days when stocks first started trading, I look very carefully to see if there are any hard aspects that stand out. And so in the case of Apple, when I saw Mercury at 45 degrees of Saturn, that immediately jumped off the page at me. And I thought to myself, I'll bet you that if we look at charts of Apple, we will see that Mercury-Saturn hard aspect at work. And in fact, if we do look at a recent chart of Apple, starting last September, just prior to its all-time high of $705, these Mercury-Saturn hard aspects, heliocentric hard aspects, really stand out. They're plain as day, and they correlate extraordinarily well to the various turning points on Apple price as it has fallen from the $705 level. Let's take a look at the chart. Now, here is the heliocentric natal chart for December 12th, 1980 for Apple. I've got the 45-degree hard aspect marked on the chart, but look at the chart very closely. You'll see that Mercury is in the sign of Scorpio, and you'll see that Saturn is in the sign of Libra, and they are 45 degrees apart, which is what astrologers refer to as a hard aspect. And this is what makes me think that similar hard aspects are going to figure very prominently in the price fluctuations of Apple. Now, to be very clear, when I say I think that hard aspects are going to figure prominently, I'm looking for 45-degree aspects, 90-degree aspects, 0-degree aspects, and 180-degree aspects. These are what we call the hard aspects. Now, let's take a look at a chart and see if, in fact, these hard aspects do play a role. So now, here is a daily price chart of Apple, going back to August of 2012. And what I've done in this chart is I have marked on the 0, 90, and 180-degree hard aspects between heliocentric Mercury and Saturn. And sure enough, from looking at the birth chart of Apple, I had a sense and a sneaking suspicion that hard aspects between Mercury and Saturn were going to be significant. And sure enough, they are. Let's quickly go through this chart. Apple reached a high of $705 in September of 2012. But look at what that $705 peak was related to. That was a 0-degree hard aspect between heliocentric Mercury and Saturn. Precisely, bang on the money. From there, the price action fell into early October. It tried to stage a little bit of a recovery at a 90-degree hard aspect, couldn't do it, turned down again, fell into the middle of November, found a little support and in fact a turning point at a 180-degree hard aspect, rallied towards the end of November, ran into a 90-degree hard aspect and promptly failed again. Another 90-degree aspect in mid-January 2013 saw Apple literally fall out of bed, falling from over $500 a share down to just under $450 a share. Price action then recovered into February, but a little 180-degree hard aspect caused it to turn down again. In early March, price found a little bit of support after passing by a 90-degree hard aspect. Price rallied towards the end of March, but then guess what? It hit a 0-degree hard aspect, and it turned down again. Now, middle of April, 90-degree hard aspect. And since then, what have we seen? Apple has been rallying. The media is hard-pressed to explain all of this. They're bringing out various analysts. They're scratching hard. They're looking deep. But they just don't get it. The planets rule our emotions. Our emotions rule the markets. It's just that very simple. By looking at the natal birth chart of a given stock, a lot of times you can get some clues as to which aspects you should be looking for. Now, in the case of Apple, you can take your table of planetary data and you can figure out these various 0, 90, and 180-degree aspects for Apple. You can plot them, make a note of them for the next year if you wish. And I assure you that at every one of them, you're going to see a turning point on Apple price. Now, the current rally is probably going to fizzle out here shortly when we hit the next hard aspect. For those of you that have recently bought my book, The Bull, the Bear, and the Planets, that's what I talk about in the book. Human emotion and how it governs markets and how planets affect human emotion. And you see, it's precisely stuff like this that guys like W.D. Gann had figured out. They had it perfected back in the 20s and 30s when they made so much money. They were a step ahead of the average guy in the street. And to this day, there are a group of elite traders in Chicago, in New York, that understand this stuff. And the reason I wrote my book, The Bull, the Bear, and the Planets, was to make sure that this stuff does not permanently become lost to the average trader on the street. Anyway, I'm running out of time here on my allotted length of time for my YouTube video, so I will leave you with all of this to ponder. Take a look at Apple, take a look at some of these future hard aspects between heliocentric Mercury and Saturn, and you'll have the turning points. It'll be like having a roadmap in front of you for investing in Apple. Keep your eyes on investingsuccess.ca and also on www.astrologicaltrading.wordpress.com. Watch my various blogs, watch my various posts, and I cover, or at least try to cover, a wide-ranging spectrum of stocks and commodity futures and show you how astrology and human emotion work together to affect price. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day. Take care.